What we do know, Gog-Magog war, we kind of summarize it, call it the Gog-Magog war, World War III. What we do know is that Ezekiel 38 clearly identifies at least 4 of these nations. We definitely got Libya, Sudan, Turkey, and Iran. There is a bizarre prediction that none of the immediate neighbors of Israel are involved. Just look at that map. Is that a weird war? Nobody that is tangent to Israel gets involved in this. But what happened? That's a question, isn't it? Let me give you 10 reasons real quick. And they're going to seem so obvious once you see it. If you're a Bible student, you're a Bible reader, you're going to say, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I see it? It's right there. I find that when God's, He wants to get a message across, it's just so glaringly obvious. Here we go. Number 1, guess what? All the 7 churches of Revelation are in one country, Turkey. Right? I've been on a tour of Israel and Turkey. How many people have been there? I enjoyed the 7 churches. I did a video called The 7 Churches of Revelation. I actually take you from spot to spot and show you each of the locations. And guess what? They're all in the same country, Turkey. They're not in Brussels. They're not in Sicily. They're all in Turkey. I wonder if that's a clue. God says the seat of Satan is in Turkey. So he didn't say it's somewhere else. He didn't say it's in Berlin. He didn't say it's in Washington, D.C. And maybe they do bad things, but he didn't say that. So you can't impose your opinion on it. True north of Israel is Turkey. Noah's Ark landed on Mount Ararat, which is Turkey. So the whole world got a new start in Turkey. Daniel chapter 8 and chapter 11 focus on the Greek Empire, not the Roman Empire. If you're focused on the 10 toes, you're back in Daniel chapter 2. Keep reading. It's chapter 8 and chapter 11. What happened to those? He's not talking about Rome, he's talking about Greece. And after Alexander the Great died, ancient Greece was divided into 4 territories. Greece, that we would know today, maybe call it Macedon or Macedonia. Turkey, or Anatolia back then. Syria, and Egypt. All right, those are the 4 countries God says, pay attention to these 4. And I've been sounding the trumpet for at least 10 years saying, pay attention to these 4s. You can go back and watch the videos. You won't even know they're 10 years old because they sound just like the news today. Because that's what the Bible says. The Eastern Roman Empire, even if you're kind of stuck on the semantics and think, no, it has to be Rome, it has to be Rome, it has to be Rome, fine. Rome is more than the Western Roman Empire. It just so happens that Australians and Americans can draw our heritage back to the Western part of Europe. Believe it or not, I'm half Irish, Scottish. So I draw half of my lineage goes to that side of Europe. Right? I know much more about France, Spain, and England than I know about Poland, Belarus, Ukraine. I know hardly anything about them because I'm not from that side. All right? I've lived in the UK. I've lived in France. It makes sense to me. All right? So naturally, when people have that heritage and they're teaching Bible prophecy, they're gravitating towards that. But we got to come back to the Bible. We got to align to the Bible. All right, so the Eastern Roman Empire, which was headquartered in Byzantium, outlasted the Western Roman Empire by 243 years. So if you live in that part of that part of Europe, you would say, we are the true Roman Empire. Right? Not even Rome. Rome's not the true Roman Empire. It's these guys who outlasted. The Ottoman Empire, which was headquartered in Constantinople, same place as Byzantium, was the longest lasting empire for 6 centuries, from 1299 to 1923. That seems far more significant than America's fame and might, which has lasted about 200 years. The Euphrates River originates in Turkey, and it's predicted to dry up in the end times. It's happening right now. They're fighting over it. And all the stand countries which relate to Magog, the Central Asian nations, are Turkic nations. And I'll explain that in a little bit. And number 10, Muslims still look to Turkey as the global leader of Islam. Turkey was home to the 4th and last caliphate which was abolished in 1924. Did you know that? We're talking about the caliphate right now. ISIS wants to establish another caliphate. Why? They missed it. It wasn't too long ago they had a caliphate, but it was abolished in 1924. What's a caliphate? It's an Islamic state ruled by a caliph under Sharia law. That's the law that if you're a virgin, you have to serve as military men passing through your town. That's the law. That's Sharia law, among many other laws. The caliph is short for Khalifat Rasul Allah. It means the successor to the messenger of Allah. If you know the fight between the Sunnis and the Shia, all they're fighting about is one issue. What is it? Who is the successor? And does the successor have to be from the bloodline of Muhammad or just a disciple of Muhammad? That's all they're fighting about. They're killing each other and beheading each other over that. Okay? Now, the last caliphate was in Turkey. And this was the last caliph. Here he is. Abdul Mejid II, the last caliph of the Ottoman dynasty. He was replaced by Ataturk, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, the so-called father of secular Turkey. This is the man that said Turkey's going to go a different way. We're not going down the extreme Muslim path. We want to be like the West. We want to dress in Western suits that are so uncomfortable. We want to wear neckties that are so hot in the summer. And we want to smoke cancer-causing cigarette like he has in his finger there. So you can see he's not at all that traditional picture of a caliph. He went the other way. He secularized Turkey. And that's brought Turkey to where it's at right now. It's in almost an identity crisis. Are they going to be the secular Western country, or are they going to go back to the roots, which was glorious, a Muslim caliphate that was admired and ruled the world? Okay, so that's the tension going on right now in Turkey. And the man that's just been elected the 12th president of Turkey, Recep Erdogan, by the way, I hear a lot of people cannot pronounce. Turkish is a very hard language, not that I know, but all the letters are very different from our letters. So that G-A-N is actually Erdogan. He's the 12th president, and it turns out he doesn't like the secular model, and he's trying to get Turkey back to the glory days.